All right, let's say, I think I'm live. You guys can tell me if you hear me or not because I don't know if you can hear me or not. And I'm trying to get this lighting ready. I was going to start earlier, but my son needed help with his Pokemon Go. So it didn't give me time to like set up the microphone. But if you guys can hear me, just drop a like yes, no. Um, because I'm not, it's my first time using this on live. It's my first time using this microphone, so if no one can hear me, then I'm pretty fucked. But let me double check. Um, oh, it says unable to, whatever the fuck. Um, I'm not sure. Maybe later I can like fix this, but I was trying to get the lighting fixed. I was trying to get the microphone fixed. The camera seems to be working okay. The lighting's just kind of a little off, but I kind of just wanted to come on here because I haven't been on here in a really long time. Like I have not gone live in like months, like a month or two. So I just wanted to come on here and basically talk about the fights because now we do have fights all over. At first we had Top Rank. Top Rank was the first one to start doing like quarantine edition type bubble fights, and I was really excited for the fights. Okay, now I'm like seeing all these comments. Were you locked up in county? Yes, I was. No, I moved. I don't know if you guys could tell the difference, but I'm in my own apartment. I used to live with my mom and my brother. We all rented a house. Now I got my own apartment. So yay for us. Um, we do have hello from New York City. I wasn't mad at the top ranked cards. You know, they tried their best. We had some pretty good cards. We had Joshua Franco and becoming the new champion at 118. We had Pedraza. We had Cepeda all come back. Jesse Magdaleno. We had some pretty good, decent fights in with top rank. The only thing that it felt to me was like a never ending undercard. Honestly, I wasn't mad at it at all, but it honestly just felt like an undercard that just dragged on, and we never really got a, I mean, we did get decent fights, but nothing to make us like really sit at the edge of our seats. Now PBC posted a bunch of cool fights coming up that those got kind of mixed feelings from people who, as we know, are not as good with the promotion and the whole Al Heyman. People don't seem to take very kindly to him a lot of times. But I'm not mad at those fights. I'm actually pretty excited about those fights. The only thing that kind of annoys me is that some are scheduled to be pay per view, which, in my opinion, there shouldn't be any pay per views right now during the pandemic. Like, our pockets are hurting. There's no reason why they should be fucking paying what, $75 for a fucking pay per view? No, like our pockets are hurting. Please cut it out. Um, but we also have Eddie Hearn on the other side of the pond. He just had his first fight camp, right? It's called Fight Camp, and that was in the UK. And he had like a bunch of UK locals. Like I wasn't necessarily familiar. I had heard of the Cheeseman fellow because, come on, like the name. I remember, watching him fight before, but definitely remember the Cheeseman guy just because of the name. So I really want to know what you guys' thoughts are because it has been a while since I came on here, and most of the stuff that I see, boxing opinions, are usually on Twitter. So I would love to see what you guys have to say on those fights. Which cards are you looking forward to? This month alone, we have some really good fights. One of the ones that I'm looking forward to is actually from Top Rank. I know I just said that Top Rank wasn't putting the best cards, but right now I'm really excited for Aleider Alvarez versus Joe Smith Jr. If you don't remember Joe Smith Jr., he's the guy that knocked Bernard Hopkins out of the ring. So I'm really excited to see that matchup. You know, we know that Aleider Alvarez lost to Kovalev in the rematch. Who did he face recently too? He faced someone else recently. My brain is pooped right now. I did not sleep all night last night. I made birria. If you guys follow me on Twitter, you guys saw that I made birria. So I stayed up all night watching the birria and I didn't sleep. But I remember that Aleider Alvarez fought somebody else too, but I forgot who. Who did he fight? Remind me, you guys. You guys always come through. Hello. Oh, yeah. Today I'm like super Amy Winehouse up in this bitch. Oh, Mexico City, Mexico. I like pronouncing it Mexico. My kids are chilanguitos. Yeah, and Danny Garcia versus Spence. PBC. I know people don't like PBC, but I mean, you can't fuck with their drops. You know, they did drop some pretty decent cards. Now, I wish all these fights were in one card. They actually just had their first card last Saturday with Leo versus Williams, if I'm not mistaken. It was supposed to be against Stephen Fulton Jr. I was still not disappointed. It was a pretty good card. We had a decent, almost pretty much knockout of the year candidate already. I was pretty stoked with that card. But Danny Garcia versus Spence. Now, there's a lot of speculation here with who would win. I know a lot of people saw Spence in that cowboy video with the horses, and they were just discussing his nipples, which is weird as fuck to me to see grown-ass men on the internet discussing another grown-ass man's nipples, but only in boxing, right? Also, we just want to know how he's going to be post the car accident, you know. Now, Spence, we know that he lost to Sean Porter, even though a lot of people feel like he did win. But his last performance against Ivan Redcatch was not the best. It wasn't, in my opinion, very eye-catching to where you're like, damn, Danny still got it, you know. And I'm not taking anything away from Ivan Redcatch. Maybe he does have a really tough chin. However, I feel like it was very lackluster for Danny Garcia, but at this point, I'm not really trying to give anybody shit because quarantine. You know, quarantine, I'm pretty sure sparring is lacking. Was that pre-quarantine? That was pre-quarantine, huh? So what are the excuses? I don't know. I personally right now have Spence beating him just because Spence, I'm the type of person that I like to see people overcome challenges. And I think Spence has had the tougher fights. He's risen up as a winner, that's going to prepare him for an opponent like Danny Garcia. But then again, he can also get caught by that no-look hook. You know, we all know Danny Garcia has that famous no-look hook, and I'm not taking anything away from him, but, you know, we shall see. Let me know what you guys think. Hello. Jose Ramirez, Josh Taylor, would that make him the first Mexican undisputed champion? I think at 140, yes. I don't know about ever, though, but at 140, yes. Jose Ramirez, it got announced to finally with Pascal again. When is it? I think sometime this month too, right? It just got announced. I think either I just got announced or I just read the email. But I know that fight has been getting put off for a while because it was supposed to be in China. I remember, if you guys remember, no, Pascal, that's 175. Postal P, okay. With Pascal, that was supposed to be in China, and that's when the virus was barely starting to, you know, hit the media and hit all of our radars. So that definitely got canceled, and now it finally seems to get rescheduled. You fought Michael Seals. Yeah, that's probably what I don't remember because that name does not sound familiar to me. But this guy is a mass maximum at the moment. I have to agree with you, Luis Gonzalez. I actually tweeted that the other day. I tweeted about how skill-wise, like just pure boxing skill-wise, I think El Gallo Estrada is actually the best that Mexico has to offer right now. I know a lot of people were mad. A lot of people were like, it's Canelo. Like, did Canelo die or something? I'm like, no, Canelo, obviously, he's a very all-around, well put-together fighter, but again, in the ring, boxing style wise, Estrada just looks sexy in the ring. And I mean this in the least like sexual way, which is dumb because sexy is like, he looks good in the ring. Like he looks fluid. And I really love to see him in the ring and how he fights. We just saw Rungvisai fight. I'm not going to try to pronounce that other guy's name, but it was a fellow countryman of his from Thailand, around 40 years old, this dude. And he was giving Rungvisai a run for his money. Now, as we know, Rungvisai did come back in the second half and, you know, it looked a little bit more dominant, but I think we can all agree that he looked sluggish and he looked not as accurate as usual. And honestly, I feel like, again, I'm just going to, you know, put this on quarantine and put this on the lack of maybe sparring partners to get ready for these fights. But I think we can all agree that both El Gallo Estrada beats him again, and so does Chocolatito Gonzalez, who, as we know, now has a belt as well. I just want to see Chocolatito versus Estrada again, like unification, chef kiss. I would love to see that shit. Spence by unanimous decision, but Garcia's going to have his moments. Garcia has amazing timing. Garcia has pretty great timing again with that no look hook still. He just, in my opinion, already peaked. I think we already saw the best of what we could have seen with Garcia, and that's not a bad thing. Maybe, a lot of people are like, where? But maybe with American, like it already happened. I just never saw him as elite. I think Spence has the chance to be elite or had the chance to somehow like be in the mix of like more top A level guys, while Garcia, in my opinion, is more like A minus borderline B. Um, he has a really good resume, Garcia as well, but I just have to go with Spence. I think Danny Garcia did lose to Porter, and I think he lost comfortably to Thurman. In my opinion, Thurman took some rounds off there at the end and definitely made the decision closer than it should have. But in my opinion, I think they both beat him pretty well. So I feel like Spence should as well. I usually don't like the, this guy beat this guy, so that means this guy beats this guy theory, triangle theory. But in this case, I feel like it applies very well. Ever consider MMA also? I'm just a casual with MMA, and I don't know. It looks like there's a lot of Trump supporters in MMA, and I don't like that. Would you date a boxer? No, I feel like it would hurt my feelings. Like if they got knocked the fuck out and I'm just there in their like ringside, like, I couldn't do that. Like that probably hurt my feelings. I'd probably get up there and try to fucking mis condolencias, Belinda te robó Cristian Nodal. Dude, I was actually texting my best friend the other day. I'm like, now I don't feel so creepy about thinking Cristian Nodal is hot because Belinda's what, like 30? I'm like, and I used to think that I was gross because I was like in my 20s, late 20s, thinking he was cute when he's like 21. Let's not talk about that right now. This is boxing. Danny Garcia beat Porter and Thurman. No. Porter maybe, but I feel like Thurman beat him pretty comfortably. And I always get pissed off at the fact that Thurman basically was at the top. Thurman had like, he still to this day has like one of the best resumes in my opinion. And besides Pacquiao, Thurman has a really good resume, and he just let Spence and Crawford rise to the top, while he was injured or getting married. And I know he can't help the injuries, like injuries, like no one can help that, but getting married, like why are you getting married in your prime? That has always pissed me off, and I don't like it. But I think I think he beat Danny pretty well, I just never thought. I don't know. I don't think. How do the rest of you guys have it? I think Thurman beat him pretty convincingly, and Porter could, it was closer, but I did see Porter have more success throughout the entirety of the fight, and that actually surprised me in that fight. Porter actually very much surprised me in that fight because I was expecting him to just come forward like he usually does with his aggressive style with it was very successful aggressiveness. So I'm like, oh, he's just gonna be like head forward, like normal Porter. But no, he actually did pretty well, and he changed it up a little bit, and he beat Danny Garcia without turning to his super aggressive pressure tactics. And I really like Sean Porter's performance right there. That's probably one of my favorite performances from Sean Porter. Hey, hello. I know it's been forever. I just moved here in July, and I just needed to get everything together. But what else? We have Benavides coming back also in PBC. We have Tank versus Leo Santa Cruz, which to me is like, where did that fight come from? I feel like no one's giving Leo a chance, and no offense, but rightfully so. But it's also a very different argument because Gervonta has size and he does have skill, but he has yet to rely on skill, in my opinion, to beat anybody. He's beaten anybody through being the bigger puncher, being the bigger guy. He I don't doubt that he has like a lot of talent. Actually, I think he's very special, but also his lack of discipline really makes me think twice on how he's taking this, these fights. And I just feel like at the end of the day, he is going to be too big for Leo Santa Cruz, but Leo Santa Cruz has really decent defense. Like if you notice, he keeps his gloves like this, like the majority of the time, and punches barely slip through when he's fighting like high volume punchers like he has before. However, I don't think we've ever seen him get hit by someone like Tank. So I do have to go with Tank on this one, but I'm not 100% counting out Leo Santa Cruz because Leo Santa Cruz, yeah, his opposition in the last, like what, 2-3 years has been very lackluster as well. But, I mean, both of them, who's Gervonta's best win? Pedraza, Gamboa recently, but it's just like nothing that you didn't expect him to do, Now Leo Santa Cruz, when was the last time he was in a really good fight? Frampton? Because no offense, and this is gonna sound mean from a Mexican coming from another Mexican, but I don't think we needed the rematch with Mares. Like, was it good? Yeah, but like I wasn't like there's so many names, Gary Russell straight up disrespected his father. Like straight up went up to Santa Cruz dad and like said a bunch of shit that he would put hands on him, and you still not gonna fight. That never made sense to me because they're both PBC, they're both same weight class, they're both champions. What, that fight never happened? I don't understand. But Tank versus Leo is also, I think that's gonna be a pay-per-view, which I'm just like, why? Like, we don't have money, leave us alone. Danny Garcia lost both fights, never got a foothold of it. Yeah, I think Danny also, when I said he peaked too, I feel like his best weight class was definitely 140. What's the funniest defund the police post you ever seen on it? I can't think of that right now. David Benavidez. Now, David Benavidez, we want him against Caleb Plant. Now, we know that. Just thinking about that fight makes me like, like, I want that fight so bad. The trash talk would be epic. But I feel like those types of fights too have to be with fans because these motherfuckers are going to be talking shit to each other. So I'm not mad at it. And I don't think Angulo, that's his last name, right, is like a terrible opponent. Like a terrible. We also have to keep in mind that this is quarantine and they're giving us what the best that they can do. My favorite ones from PBC though, the Charlos. The Charlos, one against Derevchenko, the other one against why is my mind failing me? Banana. So the Charlos, to me, in my opinion, it's their time to shine. You know what I mean? Like, they finally have, I mean, I don't think their resumes are lacking, but they're getting better. Like, we're seeing progression with their resumes and with their opponents, and I can't wait to see Derevchenko versus Charlo, and I can't wait to see the Charlo against Banana. Like, that is gonna fucking slap. I'm so excited for that. Kamal says Porter has arguably the best resume in boxing. I actually have to give it to Thurman, but Porter's way there too. Because I guess when Porter fought Spence, that gave him, like a big push too in his resume compared to Thurman, who's been inactive. But I mean, Thurman has Pacquiao. I don't know. Even though they both lost, those names hold a lot of fucking ground for me. Kell Brook, Ugas, Pauly. I think he lost to Ugas. Granados, Devon Alexander. Yeah, I thought. I don't think that Ugas definitely beat him, and that was a slip. I think if anybody would be down to fight Crawford, it would definitely be Sean Porter because he don't give a fuck. Hola, Paolo, ¿cómo estás? Saludos a Colombia. Ryan Garcia trying with Golden Boy again. Yeah, I think the part that kind of upset me with that is Oscar took to Twitter to be like, let's get Campbell versus Ryan happen. Let's stop the bullshit or something like that. And in my head, I'm like, who are you talking to? Like, you should be telling us. You should be telling us you're making the fight happen and quitting the bullshit. Sean, hey, everybody, you guys should subscribe to Just Boxing. They have an awesome podcast, always have really good guests, and they help out a lot of the fighters too. It's a really nice organization. Shout out to Sean from Just Boxing. Question is, does Leo have the power to make Tank respect him? I don't think he does either. I have to definitely agree with you. Tank might walk through punches. If he does, Leo's in trouble. And Leo's a very high volume puncher, but when you have someone that's coming at you with power, you might not be as active with your punches. Matas needs to retire and work on shoulder time. I think he replaced Pauly, right? What do you guys think about Pauly getting fired? Poncho, thank you so much for your super chat. I appreciate it. I wish I'm gonna show you guys my setup. This was all from YouTube's money. So I got a Rodecaster, which I can do this with. To this day. I don't know if you guys will hear it, but I can do that. I got my microphone. I got a fucking Mac. Like, This all came from my work here on YouTube. So only to get it, make it better and be more consistent, especially once boxing comes back. I feel like I was barely getting started. Like, I'm gonna say it in Spanish. Like, estaba agarrando aviada, you know, I was going to like Texas. I was covering all these events, and all of a sudden, fucking Corona was like, "Bitch, you're going too fast. Stop. Let me fucking pop you in the head and give you a fucking un tate quieto." So thank you, Poncho. I really, really appreciate that. It means a lot. But Rosario, yes, I'm way behind the comments, guys. My bad. I talk too much. But I love Rosario. I think his upset was like still one of my favorite ones. It was earlier this year, right? Shit, I've been quarantined so long that I don't even, it feels like it's been fucking forever. But I think it was this year, right? It was very early this year that he got that upset, and man, Banana. Like, who would ever think we would have a fucking champion nicknamed Banana? I love to call him Banana. I wonder why he gets called that, but I love to call him Banana. Did you guys hear? Yeah, to this day. So I have like all these little things that I have this one too. And I just put those on there. Like, I can put little sound bites on there. And then this one's my favorite one.
What did you think about the fight?
I wonder if I'm gonna get copyrighted.
Everybody out there know I beat it. But let me talk something. Let me let y'all know. Y'all know I beat that boy. Y'all know I beat that boy. Y'all know I beat that boy.
Oh, Broner. Broner is talking about he wants to go to 135. I don't think he would make the weight anymore, but that'd definitely be interesting. And I hate how Broner proves us wrong again and again with, oh yeah, this time I'm serious. And of course he's just selling himself because he has that wow factor and that shock value that people are going to want to stay tuned to whatever Broner does. And every time Broner fights, I was going to say Boner. Every time Broner fights, I'm just like, man, why does he keep getting chances? Like, give these chances to make money to like fighters who deserve it. But man, like, Broner just says a bunch of crazy shit. It's like he's like Mike Tyson. I want everything Mike Tyson and Broner have said on a t-shirt. Like, they just say the weirdest shit. Now, Oscar Valdez versus Miguel Berchel. This is a fight that, as much as I would love it, I'm also very conflicted on because I'm very, very concerned for Oscar Valdez. I feel like Oscar Valdez is food to Berchel. I know a lot of people thought Berchel's last performance too was lackluster. He just fought maybe a month ago on ESPN on Saturday in Mexico, and a lot of people were like, he took too long to take this guy out. But in my opinion, maybe these guys really do want rounds right now, especially when they're not getting enough sparring. Maybe they want rounds. Maybe that's why they take longer to put these guys away, because maybe they want rounds. Who knows? Navarrete also didn't look spectacular, so Oscar Valdez, in my opinion, has not been the same, not only since the Scott Quigg broken jaw situation, but since he moved to Canelo team. Now, I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for this, but in my opinion, I don't think that was the right move for Valdez to go to Canelo team. Everybody has this expectation, there's this notion going around that anybody who goes to Eddie is gonna like immediately have Canelo like skills in the ring or Canelo strategy, and I don't think that's the case. Oscar Valdez, he was already more deeper into his career. He's not Ryan Garcia. See, Ryan Garcia, we can see the change because he's still a young developing fighter. With Oscar Valdez, he was already the fighter that he was, which was a come forward fighter. Should he move his head a little bit more? Yes, of course. But he still doesn't fucking do that. He got caught by that kid Adam Lopez. He got caught a bunch he just fought to Oscar Valdez. Who he fight? He just fought. I did not sleep all night, so I'm sorry for my dumb bitchiness right now. But he just fought, and again, he was a stoppage if I'm not mistaken. But in my opinion, he's still getting hit with shit he shouldn't be getting hit with. And it didn't make that huge of a difference. And in my opinion, things like that, switching him trainer and expecting him to be a more defensive fighter, definitely like bamboozled him, because he's like, should I come forward? Should I finish? What, in my opinion, it definitely changed his style, will definitely change his flow, which definitely has not the best impact in his fights. But we will see. A lot of people are like, don't count out Valdez. Like, he has pop. Yes, he does. I saw him drop a bunch of people in sparring when he was sparring at Legends back when he was with Manny Robles. So he does have a lot of power too. But let's remember that he moved up a weight class. Why? To me, I don't think he should have done that. I think he should have stayed at 126. But, I don't. I think he's food for Vergil. Vergil to me is probably beats everybody at 130. Is 130? Yeah, 130. Thoughts on Theo Loma? Man, what are your guys' thoughts on Theo Loma? Because I can see both sides. Like, I'm always, I don't know, it's because if I went to school for this and I was trained to like be this way, I try my hardest not to be biased. Like, I don't think I'm biased ever. And with this, I'm like, okay, let me see. Teofimo does not think 1 million, was it 1.2 million is a proper offer because of, Shakur Stevenson. He claims Shakur got more, or somebody, I don't know, I haven't seen the numbers correctly. I think Sean actually corrected me on Against Rose podcast that he got 7,500, but apparently he wants more than that. Now, part of me is like, well, maybe Teofimo's just turning down the first offer. Is negotiating 1-1, right? You don't take the first offer they sent you. Maybe you want to negotiate. Maybe you want to put it at least maybe up to 1.5 million. And Lomachenko is getting 3.5, if I'm not mistaken, but they compare it to what Loma was making prior to other opponents before he got like super, super, big. And it's a pretty decent offer if you compare the numbers of what everybody was getting paid when they were fighting Lomachenko and vice versa. I'm very upset at the way that Teofimo and his dad were very vocal about calling out Lomachenko. But now that it's like, okay, well, here's the offer, they're like, well, not for this much. In my opinion, if you want to fight that bad, like, say it. But if you have a price, then maybe you should have like what do they call it? The bottom, bottom fine print. Like, we want Lomachenko. Yeah, he's next. But I want this much. You know what I mean? Like, it kind of defeats the purpose to be very vocal about wanting an opponent if you're just going to, I don't want to say price yourself out, because I'm not saying Teofimo isn't worth more, especially because, just like Lomachenko, he became champion pretty early in his career. But I think Lomachenko, a lot of people were saying on Twitter, like, why does Lomachenko get paid more? Well, because Lomachenko's a 3-division world champion. And because Lomachenko has paid his fucking dues in boxing. Like, yes, he doesn't have a long pro career, but he's done a lot in the few fights that he has. And I have no doubt in my mind that Teofimo could do the same. Right? But right now, Lomachenko already took a pay cut because I think he was supposed to get like 4. And Teofimo also, I think they both, I read somewhere that they both took like a 75K pay cut. And a lot of people are like, oh, well, if Lomachenko wants the fight to happen, then he should pay out of his pocket to Teofimo. And it's like, no. Like, what is this? GoFundMe? Like, no. Like, I don't think it's Lomachenko's responsibility. And Lomachenko just fight anybody else. In my opinion, Teofimo is the one that should be ecstatic about this fight, because in my opinion, Teofimo has a chance against Lomachenko. Lomachenko, in my opinion, shouldn't be in this division. Lomachenko should go back the fuck down to 130. 135, we've seen that size matters. We saw it with Campbell, we saw it with Linares, that he's got, won, but he's struggled. And if there's anybody he can struggle with that he shouldn't struggle with, because they'll be fucking dangerous, it's Teofimo. Right? Because Teofimo he has a lot of power he can crack. So I'm trying to see it on both sides. I can see why people think that Teofimo deserves more than, what he's getting. But at the same time, we got to remember that this is quarantine, There's no gate. I'm pretty sure there was a gate shit. They'd both be making some good fucking coin. But we got to remember the circumstances. Now, a lot of people are also clowning Teofimo because he said, I need to feed my family. And they're like, you can't feed your family $1 million. Like, I mean, you could knock me the fuck out in the ring for like 50K. Like, just give me 50K. Put a down payment on my fucking house. Knock me the fuck out. I even joked about like, oh, put me in the round with Senisa. I'll last like 7 seconds too, but I would have to lose like 10, like 50 pounds. So, what are you guys' thoughts on Theo? Because I know it's very divided. I don't get why you can't. Broner can't pull trigger. Dang, I'm way behind. Shane the Tank versus Berchel. Yeah, see, those fights I would have loved. Berchel versus. I think Berchel. I would love to see Berchel against Lomachenko. But it's just like Mikey versus Lomachenko. It's probably not going to happen. Regis Progress and Devin Haney still don't have an opponent. We're kind of close in the year. Do you have what? No, which is very weird. I think the fact that Regis is like kind of like a free agent type of thing should have facilitated him more to get more fights, but because he is a free agent, they're kind of like ignoring him if you think about it, because Josh Taylor just went to Top Rank, which means he's gonna facilitate a fight with Ramirez, right? Those fights are more prone to happen than a rematch with Regis. Now with Devin Haney, I'm not sure what's going on there. I think that had to do more with the zone not knowing when it was going to come back, especially here in the U.S. Call me crazy, but Leo takes Gervonta's best punch up to the foot. Tank better be careful. Well, we haven't seen Tank perform that well in the later rounds, especially when we saw with, what's his name, Gamboa. But I just feel like I would be really surprised if Leo can take the punches. I know they said he's sparring like big motherfuckers, right? To like be ready for him. Ryan got a nice chassis. I don't know what that means. The changes he makes need to be known as not complete changes to his style. I agree. If you just tell Valdez, hey buddy, move your fucking head a little bit, like move your fucking head a little bit. That's it. That's all the kid needs. But he's still getting hit. You know, that's just his style. Does Ramirez kill Postol? I think he does. Absolutely. I think Postol has already paid his dues. Postol's kind of like on his way out, in my opinion. So it should be fun, though. I think Ramirez is very explosive. I loved his fucking fight against Hooker. I rewatch that fight like once a month. That was a sick ass fight, and I would love to see Ramirez against Regis Progress, just like Spence. Oh, I need to put that on my soundbite. Regis Progress. I would love to see him against Regis Progress and Josh Taylor. Those would be very interesting fights. Teo should get at least 2 million. I would agree with that if we weren't in quarantine. Like, where the fuck is those 2 million coming from? Because this is gonna sound really like messed up in a way, but I feel like Top Rank made barely any money, if not just like came out straight with the bubble stuff, because that's a lot of people keep getting tested every day for the level of fights that they were producing, which were like good, decent fights, but they were mostly like, oh, cool little undercard fights or like club style fights. So I don't think they made a lot of money from those fights. You know what I mean? From televising those fights. So I don't know where those 2 millions are gonna come from. Oh, my mom. What do you think of Edgar Berlanga versus Benavides in the future? I want to see Benavides face Caleb Plant. Like, unless it's Caleb Plant, I don't want to see it. I disagree. Loma isn't a draw. Hasn't unified his division. Ducked Haney. You guys who say Lomachenko ducked Haney, like, really, really, like, surprise me. Because how? How? Just because it wasn't... I get that franchise thing is bullshit. It's bullshit for Lomachenko. It's bullshit for Canelo. It's bullshit for who else they made franchise, or they were trying to make. I think they were trying to make Wilder franchise before he got, he got by Fury. I think he is a draw. Lomachenko is very much a draw, in my opinion, and in no way do I feel he ever ducked Haney. I can see why that made it seem like he did, but no offense, that doesn't make any sense to me. Aram also lowballed Nicholas Walters and Guillermo Rigondeaux. Yeah, but see, the fucked up part about that is that Nicholas Walters and Rigondeaux, they have no choice. You know, like those are styles that are not friendly, that are not fan friendly, that are not telecast friendly. So as fucked up as it is and as wrong as it is, because, Walters was who he was. I know he wasn't active for like 2 years when Lomachenko got him. And Rigo, that fight shouldn't have never happened, because even Lomachenko himself said like he's another division, So yeah, that was messed up that they lowballed him. But I don't know about right now because of the quarantine. Marisela Cornejo, any updates? I don't have no idea. I didn't know she was still fighting. In my opinion, when she fought Aaron Tuffill, what was that girl's name? She lost, and they still gave her the win, and that's mostly because she's very tight with the WBC. So I like Cornejo's fights, but she loses most of them, and she still gets the win, or not the win, but when she first lost the belt to Franchon Cruz de Zern, one of the judges had it a draw, and that fight was a shutout. So I know she gets, like, I like her, but I don't like that it's obvious how much WBC usually helps her out. Tank is a monster of his division. I want to see it though. I have no doubt in my mind that Tank can run through a division if he shows me. And I the way I see it, the only thing that's giving me like second thoughts is the fact that he ain't disciplined. And he got like a beer belly right now, pregnant. What do you think in Vergil Ortiz? I think Vergil Ortiz did pretty good against Samuel Vargas. I think we're all surprised that he didn't go down. Samuel Vargas, Colombia, dude, he had a granite chin. I have no idea how that kid didn't go down. I know Danny Garcia knocked him down with a 1-2 or like just a no-look hook, if I'm not mistaken. I think Spence also took him to the 7th or 8th round. So a lot of people were looking at this like a measuring stick, right? See how Vergil would do against somebody who already faced and lost to Danny Garcia and Spence. I think Vergil was beating him like a dog. And I know people weren't impressed because it wasn't like a devastating knockout like we're used to seeing from Vergil. But I think, again, this comes to, I'm just going to blame it on quarantine and the fact that I'm not taking anything away from Vargas. Now, I know that Vergil wants to fight champions right now, and I don't doubt that he believes that he can win, and I think he does pretty good against, even if he doesn't win, I think he does pretty well against some of the top guys. However, I would like to see him first go 12 rounds. I know it's not his fault that his fights keep getting stopped or he just keeps knocking motherfuckers out, but I think just for the sake of being prepared, I think he should go the distance first. And then he should fight. Like, I would love to see Vergil Ortiz versus Granados of the world versus who's the other, the B level 147 guys like Peterson. Like, I would love to see him against Lipinets. I would love to see Vergil versus Lipinets. That's also a good measuring stick because we know he fought Mikey and Mikey put him on his ass like once, right? Granados for what's his name? For Figueroa. Those guys, Molina. No, actually, he would decapitate Molina. Let's not do that. But I would like to see Vergil against those type of guys. You know what I mean? Like the guys that are like not top. But I would love to see him work his way up because, in my opinion, he's been doing really well and the competition is not bad. Like, I loved his fight against Herrera. I was very, very impressed when he fought and beat and folded Herrera the way he did because Herrera had never been popped like that before. He had never been folded like that. Same with Orozco. Orozco had gone the distance with Ramirez, a fucking unified world champion. And Vergil folded him within 6, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't think Vergil should be in a rush because Vergil's doing well as he's going up. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like he's just fighting nobodies or he's not like just knocking dudes out because they're not good competition. He definitely has it. I just don't think it should be rushed, but I'm also not doubting he would do pretty well with some champions. There's always a thing of like just experience. You know what I mean? Pro experience. Progress is pronounced progress. Yes, I know, but what's his name? Fucking Errol Spence says Regis Progreris, so I say it like that too. You guys never heard that? It was like at a post-fight conference. And he's like, Adango just got knocked out by Regis Progreris. Later than he did Terrence Crawford. So name somebody else. You guys never heard that? I'll post it. Haney's not in his league. Loma's way better. I think Haney's very good, and he's definitely has potential to be one of the greats in the future, like in a couple years. But the narrative that Loma ducked him just because he wanted, maybe, I don't know if it was Bob Arum or him or what, the recognition of stupid ass franchise, whatever the fuck that is, doesn't mean he ducked Haney. Haney, in my opinion, and all fighters should do this, in my opinion. Canelo should have done this. Charlo should have done this too in his way. If I'm getting a belt, like just because somebody else got promoted to something else, I'd be like, no offense, but I'd rather win this in the ring. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be a PDF belt paper champ. You know what I mean? I'm not doubting that. I mean, Charlo's already a champion. Well, he was the interim, right? Now Haney, I'm pretty sure he was on his way to be a champion. That didn't mean shit. He was going to be a champion anyway. But Canelo and Lomachenko, when they were offered that franchise, they should have been like, no, what the fuck is this? Right? And then those benefiting from it because now because the other ones are promoted, now they're the regular whatever champs. They should have been like, no, what's going on? Like, I want to fight Fred in the ring. And that's my opinion, but I don't know. Vergil versus Jesse. Dang, that would smack. Vergil versus Jesse Vargas. And again, another measuring stick because, you know, Vargas did a lot at 147 and then he also fought at campaign at 154. Wilder said he would not accept WC franchise belt. Difference with Loma top rank petition. Yeah, that is not a duck. Petitioning to be recognized as a champion does not mean you're not going to fight whoever the fuck is next. Like, how does that make sense? How does that immediately mean that he's not going to want to fight somebody else? And again, no offense, I think Devin Haney is going to be definitely one of the top guys. He's already one of the top guys in his division, but he's obviously going to get better, and he's not at his prime yet, so he's only going to get better. But right now, I don't think he beats Lomachenko. Not right now. Maybe in like a year or two, he beats him. Not right now, in my opinion. Cornejo's a hype job. I don't like saying stuff like that. I feel like every boxer who's doing pro stuff is talented enough, which is why they're there. But it does. I mean, it's if you watched her fights, it is pretty obvious that she gets a lot of push from the WBC, even though she doesn't win many rounds. Vergil versus Crawford. I think if anyone would fight him, would be Crawford because you know that's what I think with Vergil being Golden Boy. I don't know how they would match him. He would. I mean, he's going to be mandatory because he's ranked highly now in the WBA. And I think he's getting up there too in the other sanctioning bodies. But unless he's mandatory, I don't think anybody's going to give him a chance because as much as people want to say he's green, he is a very high risk, low reward because he can crack. And I was very impressed too with his angles and his footwork in his last fight against Vargas. He has some really nice angles. And I think if a level guy fights him and they get knocked out or they get hurt, that's not a good look. And if they win, they're just gonna be like, oh, Vergil's too green anyway. Like Vergil's green. Vergil is still young. That's why. So it feels like it's a very high risk, low reward when fighting like volunteering to fight Vergil. You know what I mean? Tank can make weight. She can or can't because he hasn't. Like that thing pissed me off about Tank too. Like how you move up a whole division and still not make weight. Like you moved up divisions and you still not making weight. Like what's going on here? He does not have a big fan. That's crazy pants that you're saying that. Are you like a avid boxing fan or are you like kind of here and there? You also like MMA because that's crazy pants. When he fought here in LA, like there's a bunch of people, and in New York too. Especially New York though, the Ukraine people showed the fuck up for him. He's not like some fucking Canelo Pacquiao pay-per-view star, but he's other than those two that sell pay-per-views and shit. He's a pretty big draw. I don't know what the big. Vergil's ready next pound for pound. Is Vergil ready for the next pound for pound? Are you asking? Or you're telling me that Vergil's ready and he's the next pound for pound? I think Vergil is gonna make a significant dent in the welterweight division, and I think he's gonna end up going up to like 154, maybe in like a couple years. I think Vergil's special. Like that kid looks really good, which is why I feel like he should not rush it because he is fighting like legitimate opposition. As long as he's fighting legitimate opposition on his way to the top, like I said, work his way up. The B-level motherfuckers of PBC or, like that'd be sick, right? I know a lot of people are pushing Ennis, the other guy from Golden Boy that's also 147, which I would love to see that too. But in my opinion, that's a mega fight for like a year or two from now. I want to see both of these guys take on really good opposition and then meet later on. Ennis is his name, right? Really talented kid, but I do think right now Vergil does have a better resume than Ennis. Ennis or Ellis? Ennis, right? He's a slick kid too. Ortiz got hit a lot with the body. Yes. I was noticing that. He did get hit a lot in the body, but that just makes me think like, did he just not respect his power or what? Because he can't, like you said, he can't be. You can't be doing that against big punchers. Molina retired. I know. I saw he became a cop. Yikes. Vergil better than Tank. Tank don't respect. Well, yeah, it definitely, damn, I'm way behind on the comments. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm way behind. I talk too much. Let me just scroll through these. Tank, I feel like I don't want Tank to be a broner. You know what I mean? Tank has so much potential. When your grandma picks her up, baby. Okay? Tell Aiden to call her. Vergil says about Algeria. I think Algeria retired too. Wasn't Algeria like a nutritionist? Kel Brook, chocolate brownies. What's up with Mikey Garcia? I'm not sure. I think he's still trying to decide because the zone wants to keep fighting. Wants to keep Mikey fighting for them, which I thought it was funny because in one of the promos for the zone they put like, oh, all these fighters, and they put Mikey Garcia, and I'm like, hold up, like Mikey Garcia is not with you. Like he fought for you one time. Like, why are you putting him in like this DAZN promo? Like he's not yours. But who knows? Maybe that just means that he did agree. You know, I just think it was funny how Eddie Hearn got all these guys from the outside to fight his guys. You know, Chocolatito to fight Yafai. He got Mikey to fight Vargas. Because who the fuck is Vargas gonna fight with DAZN? Like when all the 154, 147 guys are PBC, right? So it's like he got them, but they beat the fuck out of his fighters. Like that's crazy, right? Shows that Kitty, he's over there somewhere. I got another cat, by the way, and I'm almost a crazy cat lady. Jesse's the GOAT against the Rose podcast. Y'all should check them out. They definitely have really good content. They recently had an interview with Shane Mosley Jr., and that's a good ass fucking podcast. You guys should check it out. Vargas versus Verchet. Like, wait, what Vargas? Jesse Vargas versus Verchet? Or what Vargas? Crawford gets hurt with Vergil? Huh. Ask Gamboa. Oh, I think that's Gio. Oh, Valdez. I was gonna say Vargas. I'm like, wait, that doesn't make any sense. Yeah, we talked about Valdez versus Verchet. I think Valdez is food for Verchet. Ennis, yes. Jaron Ennis is a slick kid. I just think Vergil has a better resume right now. But hey, like again, that's a really good fight to make like in a year or two. A year, hopefully, this fucking coronavirus. Loma put 10K in Staples Center versus Skroya. Yeah, I don't know why people say that he's not a big draw. I think the UK people and the Ukraine people love him. Arturo, what's up? Mike Tyson versus... Oh my God. Guys, everybody who knows that, you know, we like boxing, that's all they hit me up for. They're like, hey, Roy Jones and Mike Tyson. Because, you know, people are like that are casuals. They remember the boxing era of Mike Tyson and Roy Jones, right? So they're always like, what's happening there? Like, is it with headgear? Like, what kind of gloves? From the last thing I read, it was no headgear and 12-ounce gloves. So this is kind of a tougher exhibition match because if you know Arturo, I'm pretty sure we all seen him. And one is coming up, by the way, now that you bring that up. Travieso Arce and Julio Cesar Chavez Sr., they do exhibition matches. You know, they donate everything that they make from that to various organizations in Mexico to help make little houses, donate food and shelter, right? And they use headgear. Like, it's like a sparring session. But they're saying Roy Jones and Mike Tyson are not going to wear headgear, and that's a little bit scary. We've seen videos of both of them doing mitts and stuff like that. I think Mike Tyson still looks dangerous. He still scares the fuck out of me. I don't know what to say about that. Like, I'm honestly very intrigued. I'm a watch it for sure. Who do you guys got? That's a really good one. I completely forgot about that. Would you guys have? I feel like Roy Jones, like, why would he want this? You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm pretty sure a bunch of like current heavyweights would be hesitant to face Mike Tyson right now, like 50 something years old. What is he, like 50 something? And Roy Jones just like, nah, not me. I'm gonna do it. Both Jamal Charlo and Devin Haney said they wanted to fight the champions to get their belts, so it did for a while. Again. Just because they don't fight them like right away doesn't mean they're not going to want to fight them. Now, in my opinion, I think everybody knows, especially Lomachenko, that a fight with Teofimo, it's a much bigger draw than a fight with Devin Haney. And I'm pretty sure the talks before Teofimo was even a champion, we were already trying to get him to fight Lomachenko, right? So I feel like the buzz has been around those two for so long that you have to think of it also as a business standpoint. They're not always going to be like, let me look at the horizon and look at all my possibilities and opponents. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. No, they're going to be like, oh, where's the buzz? What's going to generate the most views? What's going to generate the most money? And in my opinion right now, Teofimo is much more known than Devin Haney. And that doesn't mean that, oh, they're, one's better than the other. It's just that Devin Haney has been fighting with the zone, right? Which is a more secluded platform for actual hardcore fans as opposed of Teofimo Lopez, who's been fucking ESPN, prime time, and he has had more access to more eyes on him because he's on ESPN. You know what I mean? So I feel like the money is there. Now, the whole Charlo thing with Canelo, would I have liked to see that fight? Fuck yeah. I would still love to see that fight. However, the whole PBC thing with Golden Boy and the whole, BS, we all know that's BS, but it is what it is. When was the last time Canelo fought somebody on PBC that wasn't on Showtime? When Trout, like back in his Trout Lara days, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think he's fought anybody else from PBC recently. And again, like, I know we want to take away a lot from Canelo, and it's hard to like the guy. I can see why that is. But Canelo, in case the Triple G fight didn't happen, the second one, he already had a backup with Billy Joe, right? And then in case, I forgot what other fight recently didn't happen, or Cobble, I don't remember. He already had like a thing with Andre already too. Like, they already had shit ready to make those offers. So Charlo, why is he not getting the pick? I don't know. Couldn't tell you. I don't think Charlo would beat Canelo. I think he'd give him problems, for a couple rounds. I don't see why that would be like a thing that means that they're ducking them. But, everybody has their own opinion. I can see why maybe you would think that, I guess. Vergil versus Victor Ortiz. Boot Blair. Yeah, well, Victor Ortiz, I don't know how into this he is. And also, let's remember that Victor Ortiz was with, what's his name? Robert Garcia for a while too, right? So I don't know how that would go. Blair Cobbs, I don't think they would feed Blair Cobbs to Vergil yet, because Blair Cobbs is like a woo factor guy that's fun in the undercards, and even though he gets dropped, he always comes back to win it. So I don't think that would feed him to Vergil just yet. Lipinus, I think that one was schmack because they both have power. And Khan, no, Vergil would decapitate Amir Khan. I'm gonna tell you guys that right now. And Isman Porter would be good. Yeah, Porter would be a good test because Porter is relentless. I mean, Vergil already faced somebody called relentless, but Porter is relentless. Jones is gonna whoop Tyson. Ooh, we got predictions. You heard it here first. Tyson gassing out after 3 rounds. He smokes a lot of weed. You're just defying ducking. Ha 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 ha. Guess I am. Speedy Ellis is Porter's a great fight. I think Porter is the type of guy that he'll fight anybody. Like, he don't give a fuck. Didn't Oscar say Charlo rejected the offer? Yeah. So at the last Ryan Garcia media thing that we attended, and I do have an interview with him on the channel. If you want to scroll back, it's not that long ago because I haven't put out content because ain't shit to do. But yes, Oscar said that Charlo rejected an offer, and he said he doesn't know if it was Charlo or if it was his team. But they love to use the lucrative, Golden Boy. They're like, lucrative deal. We get right. That's the exact same word that Oscar used. If I'm like not mistaken, he's like, give him a lucrative offer, and they turned it down. So that did come out of Oscar's mouth. A lot of guys ducking Canelo right now. Saunders is the latest. Yeah, that made me very angry. Like how he's like, oh, I'm not gonna fight him, basically, and I didn't like that because why would you say that? My thoughts exactly. Where does Canelo get his tacos? In his colonia, probably. Oh my God, the best tacos I've ever had are in Zapopan. So I don't blame him. Shit, probably. Zapopan has the best fucking tacos. Like, oh my God, they're so bomb. Literally, like, they wet the tortilla on the, like, grasa. Chavez Jr. was PBC? Chavez Jr. is without Heyman? Or what? I didn't know that. Where you been? I've been moving. I've been quarantining. I felt like maybe I don't know, like you guys would get bored of doing lives all the time, like, and then I moved, like I got my own little apartment now. How tall is Chavez Jr. in heels? Yo, he can work those heels. Like he needs to look. We got Chavez Jr. in heels, like stunting on these hoes. We got Deontay Wilder twerking and stunting on these hoes. Like they need to teach me a thing or two because they look fierce. They look bomb. Did you guys see Wilder twerking? You guys see him twerking?
Shit, don't everybody believe in Google?
Go Google that shit.
See what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about,
Go
man.
Google that shit. See what I'm talking about because he can twerk. Brown gone 100. Chavez should be. I would watch that. I would love to watch that. I mean, he basically already has a reality show because he's always on. He's always on live, doing the most. Vergil knocks out Porter. Ooh, I mean, I would mean he would probably drop him because see the thing about Porter coming forward like that, it leaves him open to like be countered. Because yes, he tucks his head in, and if you see Porter when he comes in, he gets very like a roly-poly, but a nice little uppercut, and you're going down just like he took a knee with Spence. Oh, the big question from Arturo. Thank you so much for the super chat. I was explaining earlier that I got a whole setup. I don't know if you were here, Arturo, but I got a whole setup. As you can see, I got a mic. I got my little roadcaster. And I got like a whole little computer, desktop computer. So I'm not just on my phone or on my laptop. So I do appreciate the super chats. Now, Paulie Malignaggi getting fired from Showtime. It really bummed me out because I agree with you. He did pretty good commentary. Like in a world where right now we do complain a lot about these commentators being biased or commentators being just fucking unbearable, honestly. Paulie did a pretty good job, you know? But it's in if you follow me on social media, then you know that I'm very into activism. And even if you have those views, which I'm not condoning, you need to read the motherfucking room. You know what I mean? Like, you see what's going on right now in the country. You see the Black Lives Matter movement. You see Chicanos and you know, Afro Latinos, all types of Latinos standing up for the concentration camps, basically with kids in cages. And you're gonna say systemic oppression doesn't exist just because it doesn't apply to you? Like he's a white person, like he's Italian. Italians are white. Why would you say that? Like even if you do really believe that the systemic oppression is not a thing, that people are just complaining, that people are just being babies, and that, you know, racism based on your color, class status, and all of that doesn't matter, you can think that. But again, with the atmosphere of what's going on right now, with the severity of the situation that's going on right now, you would think not to make those comments. Like, keep that shit to yourself, my dude. Was I disappointed? Yeah, because I'm like, oh, that sucks. Like, it's 2020 and people still say that systemic oppression isn't a thing when there's like, you just gotta look around, and yes, the fuck it is. But again, I just don't say that on anything that's televised, anything that's going to be circulating all types of media. Now, he had already gotten some backlash for saying that it was the white fighters that were getting the spotlight right now, right? He had said something like that too against Devin Haney, something about that. So people already had kind of like their claws out against him for saying shit like that to begin with. And then now saying like, oh, systemic oppression 2020, you guys, come on, no, that doesn't exist. Even though I'm a white man and I have white privilege because I'm white and I have never faced experiences that you guys face as people of color or black people or indigenous people. So systemic oppression is not real. Come on, get with the program. To me, I just think like if those are his views, just keep it to yourself because you can't say stuff like that and expect not to get fired. Now, I wish more people did that. I would. ESPN got a lot of racist ass people working for them, like openly racist, where you can still see their tweets that they say like certain things that I can't say out loud, and they're still work for that. Is it gonna suck? Yeah, because we might enjoy it. It's this thing of separating the art from the artist, right? The creator from the content. But again, keep those to yourself because come on now. Those are my thoughts. I know that was like long, but I'm pretty sure if you follow me on social media, which is Billy Ho Saunders on Instagram. If you're gonna follow me on Instagram, by the way, right now my account is private. If you want to follow me on Instagram, send me a DM when you send the request because I'm not going to like accept people right now. So yeah, maybe I should create a banner with my socials. Let me create one real quick. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe I know a lot of people disagree because y'all are, no offense, dumb, and you guys should look up into that if you don't believe systemic oppression is fucking real in 2020. But as someone who's like, he did such a good job with Showtime, in my opinion. But hey, he's getting replaced by what's his name? Abner Mares, no, Abner Mares. And they actually put that on Saturday. They put like, oh, our commentators, and they actually put like a list of the commentators, almost like saying like, look, Paulie ain't here. Like they really did that. So I'm putting my Twitter and my Instagram. Instagram is like just like Billy Joe Saunders, but it's just like Billy Ho. But you guys have to DM me, tell me, hey, I'm from, the live, because I'm not accepting people right now because of the same reason, because I'm very into activism and people don't like that. So I'm gonna tell you that right now. If you don't like activism, if you don't like people speaking up, advocating for black people, indigenous people, people of color, maybe not add me. BJ sounds the weakest champ. He's been, man. Versus Canelo, I think that's more down the road. Tank Leo who wins. I think Tank. Oxnard got the best talk. Oxnard. I went to Oxnard to go see Kovalev train and Mean Machine train and Dadashev or Dadashev. I'm sorry. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but rest in peace. Yo! I can confirm your stream is recommend. What? Is Charlo Dr. Fava Canelo? He would have lost his mandatory spot. You swear like the WBC give a fuck about mandatories. Out of all the organizations, the WBC, really? WBC is more inconsistent with their mandatories than fucking a high school girl is with her crushes every fucking day. Come on, the WBC will literally, some fighters, either you negotiate 5 and 15 days or we're stripping you. Other fighters, yeah, you can hog the belt for 2 fucking years. Don't worry about it. We got you. And only face mandatories. Example, Stevenson. When Stevenson had the 175 title that Volzdik took that now belongs to Bert Biev, if I'm not mistaken. How long was Stevenson champion? How long? Just facing mandatories, but also paying step-aside fees? He paid step-aside fees to Elite Alvarez for 2 years. And whose belt was that? WBC. Gary Russell Jr. missed IFA 1 time a fucking year. Facing only mandatories whose names we can't pronounce. Whose belt is that? The W motherfucking C. WBC. You know? Like, come on. Yet with some fighters, they are like, hey, you got 15 days to negotiate this fight or we're stripping you, motherfucker. Right? Some fighters that want to strip right away. We have to realize that a lot of these organizations do have their own agendas and they do have their own stuff that they want to make happen. You know, like they do have these fucking agendas. And it sucks because it's a sanctioning body. We shouldn't have that. We shouldn't have a sanctioning body. It should be like a tournament type of shit. Like you work your way up, you get a chance. But the most inconsistent is definitely WBC. Like that's literally the most inconsistent sanctioning body. When some champions will avoid their mandatories, no fucking. Wilder is a perfect example. I'm not saying he didn't have a position, but what was his name? Brazil was his mandatory also for like 2 fucking years. Brazil won the chance to be his mandatory in like November 2017 against, what was that other guy's name? I don't remember the other guy's name. But he won that, what was it? The elimination thing. The only reason Wilder fought him was because Fury went to Top Rank and that, lagged the rematch. If that wouldn't have happened, I don't think Wilder would have fought Brazil. Was it an entertaining fucking knockout? Fuck yeah, it was. But hey, like, Gay Russell, my thing is Gay Russell. Like, do you think they're like, hey, maybe you should fight somebody or unify? And, they don't give a fuck. With Stevenson at 175, they didn't give a fuck. They kept paying a step aside fees. So I don't know what your argument is with the WBC and is the belt franchise belt BS? Hell yeah. I don't like the whole WBC franchise, whatever, but you can't say that, they're not mandatory anymore. The WBC don't give a fuck about mandatories unless it's with Canelo and they're trying to get those sanctioning motherfucking fees. If Chavez Jr. had that footwork in the ring, maybe at 168. Oh no, he didn't do that bad against what's his name, Jacobs. He was doing pretty decent, and then I don't know, he broke his nose or whatever he said here. The Chavez family, I mean, Chavez Sr. came to defend Chavez Jr. after he put on those heels, so I'm standing that. Good job. I'm new. Hello, a boy chap. Or I might pronounce it, but hello. Zapopan is trying to be like the U.S. Oh, well, they're putting Starbucks and stuff. I don't like that. They're like gentrifying. I saw that. We stay in a really nice little hotel in Zapopan. When we go to Nayarit, we always land in Guadalajara. And we stay in Zapopan. It's a really cute little hotel that has horses. Like, it's really cute. And I did see, like, around the neighborhood, there's, like, Starbucks. And, like, they're putting, like, a bunch of stuff. And I'm like, oh, they're gentrifying. Hello, West Street's created. Thank you, Arturo. I hope I didn't bore you guys with that. I get scared. See, I'm super pro, like, activism, but I know that there's certain things that you don't discuss when you're discussing sports. I don't believe it when people say, oh, leave politics out of sports, because things apply. Like, boxing is not like it's little bubble that's not, that racism and shit doesn't affect it. No, it does. But we want to focus on the actual sport, right? So I feel like maybe he should have just kept that shit to himself. Paulie was great calling Fire. He's unbiased. He was always unbiased unless you brought up Pacquiao, because he hated Pacquiao. But I was there for it. It was entertaining. I love Pacquiao, but it was entertaining to see Paulie go off on Pacquiao and on releasing the McGregor tape. That's pretty funny. Mario Barrios, Jose Ramirez. Barrios, if I'm not mistaken, has not fought since he won the belt, right? It was a WBA, if I'm not mistaken. He fought that. What was he? He was like Eastern European guy at the undercard for, was it Porter Spence? Or was it? It was Spence versus Porter, right? Mario Barrios, he won that 140 belt and he hasn't defended it since then, or did he? That fight was a good fight, and that could have gone either way. What helped Barrios was that he knocked the other dude down twice, right? Fighting against husband, he got 4%. I think it was a mix of that, because that is very it's very parallel. Like, it's very, very parallel. Ryan Garcia is overrated. I think we have yet to find out if that's true or not. I personally think he has a lot of good attributes that he can definitely work on. And I think moving with Eddie has definitely helped him, because, like I said, he was a fighter that's barely, coming up. And it did benefit him a lot to go with the Reynoso, and I think I've seen an improvement, and I would love to see him against Luke Campbell. I hope they make it happen. I don't know what the motherfucking holdup is. I would love to see him against Luke Campbell. I think that'd be a great name to add to his resume as a former Olympian and as someone who gave Lomachenko a nice little fight. Fought for our pride. Rachel recalls that. Yes, yes, exactly. You know, as you can see, I have very indigenous roots, and indigenous people, black people, people of color get.
Now it's that fun when it's charging.
Oh, I'm sorry. Try again. And we, you know, we do get the word in worse end of the stick, but they don't want to hear it because it doesn't apply to them. The IBF takes, yeah. See, and I remember being very angry when the IBF had Joshua do a mandatory against Povetkin, because at the time, if you guys remember, it was when the whole thing was happening with Wilder and Joshua and the 50 million, right? Remember when that was happening? We were like, oh, maybe it'll happen this time. And the IBF is like, hold up. No, Joshua, you gotta defend the title against Povetkin. And we're all mad because I'm like, why the fuck would the IBF do this? Like, we're trying to get a fight going here. But they did that. With Triple G, Triple G was supposed to fight Derevyanchenko, when Canelo, and everybody blamed Canelo for this, right? When Canelo popped for Clan, that left Golovkin with very few times, not a lot of time to get another opponent. But Derevyanchenko, who was the IBF mandatory, was free. And they still chose to, try to get Munguia, go with Vanes, who had been inactive for 2 years, had lost the last fight, and was inactive, and had not fought at 160, right? And the IBF stripped them. The IBF stripped Triple G because he was supposed to fight Derevyanchenko regardless of, the short timing, which sucked, I'm pretty sure. But he was free, and they stripped him. Now, Canelo got stripped by the IBF too for not fighting the same person, Derevyanchenko, right? And I think that was more with Golden Boy and Canelo were mad at, that's when Canelo was really bad at Golden Boy, because apparently behind his back, they had promised to fight Derevyanchenko while Canelo was trying to get the fight with Kovalev, right? So apparently Canelo had no idea that they had already agreed to fight for the IBF title in his behalf when he was trying to fight Kovalev at 175. So that's when Canelo was like talking shit to Golden Boy on Twitter as well, and defending Ryan when Ryan was talking shit about Golden Boy. So the IPF was like, your sanctioning fees, like we got to keep this going. So I do agree with you, Gilbert. The IPF is more, at least consistent right now, like the WBC, as we see, they're all over the place. The IPF is like, you gonna fight your mandatory? Nope. We'll take our belt back. Who's going to fight for it now? Let me put it up here. Who wants it? Right? Like, and then Triple G got that belt now, right? He got it back. When's the last time Loma faced a mandatory? I think Croya was a mandatory. I think they've all been mandatories. What do you mean? Lomachenko is the face of fighting mandatories. I think Luke Campbell won the eliminator. Against who? He was also supposed to fight Mikey Garcia, if I'm not mistaken. But Luke Campbell, pretty sure was a mandatory. So was Croya, which are his last two opponents, right? Right? Hello, Tommaso. Thank you guys for. Well, I was scared to log on because I'm like, there's not gonna be anybody on. They're gonna be like, who's that? Still waiting on Warrington versus Santa Cruz would have smacked. I don't know why Santa Cruz went up. Santa Cruz and Valdez should have stayed at 126 and fought each other. Fought Warrington. Fucking maybe Valdez can still fight Frampton because Frampton's at 130 now, right? Or is he still 126? I don't know, but I would have loved Santa Cruz versus Warrington. UK versus Mexico type of thing. Like, I love the UK. And then Warrington didn't look that great against. Who did he fight? Remember he fought. What was his name? And a lot of people are like, oh, he lost. I forgot. King Tug, was the most recent fight, and he was mandatory and completely legit. Oscar. Who are you talking about? Buenas tardes. Pasen a lo barrido. Stavern was well as mandatory before Brazil. Was it another inconsistency? White has been like the mandatory for how fucking long too? There's your WBC. I like Guerrero, so I feel like he's one of those people that I would have loved to like see develop and fight because that motherfucker's talented. he's so talented. His speed, he has slickness. He's one of those guys that if he was more, active, maybe he would have cracked the fucking pound for pound list if he was active with fighting decent guys. Because I think he could beat a lot of these guys. I mean, his only losses to who? Lomachenko. He's great. I think Gary Russell is one of those guys. I think I'm gonna make a list of like the top 10 guys who could have, like, in my opinion, done a lot, but kind of just like fell off for whatever reason. Maybe I should do those type of videos too. Yeah, WBC is getting better all over the place. I'm gonna try to get him on here with the anonymous masks. I know what Miguel looks like, by the way. The right price will get his picture. No, I'm just kidding. I would never out him, but I know what he looks like. And he doesn't look like an Edgar. Everybody's like, does he look like an Edgar? No. Benavides is up and rising. I like Benavides. I think Benavides is definitely one of the guys who is, shit, if he beats Caleb Plant, that's going to be great. I would love to see him against Canelo too. The thing with Canelo and them is like, oh, we don't want to fight Mexicans within each other. Like, why not? Like, please do. Like, I want to see that. Shout out to Arturo. You haven't been to Zapopan. It's the richest area in the city where you were probably. No, it was up. I mean, the hotel and stuff around there is Zapopan. Yeah, because it was called Lomas de Zapopan. I don't know. I just know because my uncle lives close, and Lomas de Zapopan, I think they're called. And son como casas de Infonavit, tipo Infonavit. Alexa Rocha versus Con. See, Rocha's one of the guys that's on the way to the top too, and would be nice to have. Does Teofimo have real shot beating Loma? I think he does. I think he definitely does, especially with his size and power. And I stated earlier, Lomachenko should not be at 135. In my opinion, he should be at 130. Size matters, and I think we're going to see it in this fight. I still think that Lomachenko wins, but I'm more like hesitant to say that out loud, even though I just did. Vergil's the real deal. To me, I think he is. Spence Nipplegate. Yo, what's up with that? Everybody on Twitter loves talking about Spence's nipples. I go to the gym, not like myself, I don't work out. But when I would go to boxing gyms, a lot of fighters have weird nipples. Like, I think that's just their nipples. Like, people have different types of nipples, I feel like. And I feel like since we're used to seeing our own nipples, or like nipples in like adult entertainment, which are supposed to look pretty, we don't realize that people have different size nipples. I'm probably going to get demonetized for saying nipples. Thanks a lot, N. I'm just kidding. Yeah, what's up with grown men wanting to get... I saw a guy that said he wanted to suck on them, and I'm like, that's fair. Munguia. What about him? I don't think Munguia does a lot at 160. Canelo would sleep Munguia. I don't know. I don't like that. I think Munguia he's still young too, and he should work his way up with the 160 rankings. I think Spike O'Sullivan gave him a better fight that we all anticipated. I think we all anticipated Munguia to kind of pull the same thing Lemieux did to Spike O'Sullivan, but he didn't. So I think Munguia has so much power that, see, this is difference. I always see parallels but differences between Munguia and Oscar Valdez, because they both got kind of taken away from their style, which is just come forward and punch and eat a couple punches, land a couple yourself. But Munguia, again, is still on the younger side, and he hadn't really faced top opposition. It was kind of like Munguia got served the belt on a silver platter, and it happened, and he's like, whoa, now I have to face all the good people because now I am a champion. And in my opinion, he lost to Hogan in Monterrey, right? That, for me, he lost that fight. So I'm just like, okay, he could get better, but it's also more of like they're not changing his style. And Eric Morales, who's now his trainer, has said himself, like, I'm not going to change his style, but he does need adjustments. So I'm really excited to see what those adjustments are going to be like, because you could tell he's still a little bit confused, right? Because when he fought Spike Sullivan, he even said himself, he's like, I had him hurt a couple times, but I kept looking at my corner because I didn't know if they wanted me to finish him or not. And those are things that with someone like Spike O'Sullivan, you could take those liberties to be like, wait, what do I do? With someone who can punch back at you, you might not want to do that. But the difference between Valdez and Munguia is that Munguia has the power, like straight power, to be able to take the luxury of, being confused. Valdez, on the other hand, at 130, not so much. Who wins for? I were just talking about that. I don't know. That's a good one. That's a really good one. But I would rather like I don't like marinating fights, but I would feel like this one probably like in a year would be a better fight. I think Vergil right now has a better resume though than Ellis, but Ellis is he's slick. He's a nice guy. Josh Taylor's the man. He's a big 140. I would love to see Josh Taylor against Ramirez. Because even a rematch with Regis Progreris, with Regis Progreris, that'd be a great fight too. I would love to see that. I really want to get that soundbite when Spence says Regis Progreris. Let me see. I might play it. Is a WBA the main AJ? Oh shit! Really? I thought it was the APF. Man, look at me being stupid. Let me see if I could find it. Okay. Never mind. I'm trying to get that video where he says, Dango just got knocked out by Regis Progreris. You guys have never seen it? I feel like it's like one of the most popular videos for me. Oh, here it is.
He got knocked out by Regis Progreris. Later than he did Terrence Crawford. So now it's somebody else. Adongo just got knocked out by Regis Progreris. Later than he did Terrence Crawford.
So that's why I say, like, I know you guys are gonna be like, "Cause you pronounce it Progreris." I know, but tournaments belt. Yeah, I really fucked with the World Boxing Super Series just because it was like a bunch of good guys fighting each other. If we had to get rid of sanctioning body, which it would be, I would WBC 100%. I mean, WBO is basically belts for top rank too, though. I like Frampton versus Valdez. That would have schmacked. That 126, like that would have schmacked. Warrington didn't look. Yeah, Kid Gallagher. Yeah, that's who. I remember I watched that fight. It was like in the afternoon here in the U.S. LDBC trash. I have no idea what that means. Charlo versus Rosario. Who wins? I was talking. That's probably one of the fights I'm looking forward to the most. Both Charlo fights. Charlo versus Derevchenko and Charlo versus Rosario. I think I'm gonna look really deep into their past fights and analyze them and try to make like a really well put together prediction. But damn, that's a good ass fight. Who do you guys got? I should make a poll. We should do like some sort of betting here. Like we all put in $1 and then we each bet. We put 2, right? Rosario, Charlo. Whoever votes for Charlo, $1. Whoever votes for Rosario, $1. And then we count them, and then whoever wins, they split the money. Right? Does that make sense? Or not really? Probably not. Leave me alone. I'm quarantined. Delfimo Sparks Loma coming in. You heard it here first. Josh V predicted Delfimo Sparks Loma coming in. Hey, Eric got full on gyno though. Gyno? What does that mean? What's gyno mean? Why just so excited about nipples? That's what I want to know. Like, only in boxing do you see like straight men obsessed with another man's nipples. Only in boxing. Boxers have strong nips. Honestly, like, I know it's weird to say because they're like, she really goes to boxing gyms and stares at nipples, but I just seen people with different nipples. Like, they look different. There's a few fighters that I could think off the top of my head that I'm like, and I told my friends, I'm like, you got weird ass nipples. But like, that doesn't mean like, oh, they're taking something like, and there's guys that are like barely on the come up too. So, because I'm like, when I'm at the gym too, there's a bunch of like up and comers. They have different type of nipples, and I didn't think like, oh, they're fucking taking something. Come here, let me see. I don't think Canelo's fighting this year. That would suck. Like, he needs to. I think about this, and it makes me anxious. That I'm like, come on, like that's 1 year that we could have gone like 2-3 Canelo fights, 2 maybe at the least. Like fuck. I think Golden Boy setting up Ortiz fight. Think they're like commenting setting up Ortiz fight. What? Ew. Sorry, because of its sign of steroids. People just have nipples that are not perfectly perky, or they're not like just a dot. Like people have pepperoni nipples, people have pancake nipples, people have gumdrop button nipples. Like nipples come in all shapes and sizes, and I'm pretty sure you've dated women, you can know that, right? Women don't all have the same type of nipples, and men shouldn't either. Like we all have nipples as a human race, but we all have different type of nipples. I thought that was like common sense, basic anatomy 101. I just don't get it, the whole nipple talk. But yeah, I don't know. Literally, there's a couple guys at the gym that are just up and comer guys who fight in small club fights. I've seen them like, oh, that's weird, but it's like common. I'm not like, I wonder if they're taking something. Let me like look at them really good and see if they have like any signs. So I don't know. We'll see more. I'm pretty sure people are gonna ask Spence. See, if this was like with fans, I'd probably ask him like, what are your thoughts on like people obsessing over your nipples? But the last time I asked them anything, remember when they got into like a fight? Well, not a fight, but like they had to stop the press conference right after the Porter fight. Remember that? You guys watch the end of the fight when they did the press conference? I asked them something and then they all started fighting with each other. So maybe I should stop asking them stuff like that. Nipple fetish. I don't know. I definitely did not think I was gonna come on here today and talk about nipples. I thought that was on twitter.com. But yeah, like honestly, let's look at the schedule, because I was looking at I was looking at ESPN, and honestly, I don't know if it's just me, but it bothers me that ESPN doesn't have boxing like in their top menu. Like you have to hit the 3 little dots to get to the boxing, and I don't like that. I don't take kindly to that. August 7th in England, yeah, the Zone's gonna have. Are you guys watching the Zone fights? I know it's like mostly UK fighters, but it's gonna be Anthony Fowler, Adam Harper. I don't know how to pronounce those names. Hopi Price and Johnny Phillips. But these are like small fights. Oh, there's a title fight: Terry Harper and Natasha Jonas, which are girls. 10 rounds for Harper's WBC Junior Lightweight World Title. So that's a girl fight. We also got Jamal James and Thomas Delorme, 12 rounds. This August 8th. For the interim welterweight title, we got David Morrell versus Lennox Allen, 12 rounds. Omar Juarez versus Willie Shaw. And, little cupcake fights. More stuff on England. Oh, Jonah Carroll is fighting? I don't know how to pronounce his name, but that's the guy that fought Tevin Farmer. Remember that guy that they ended up being friends the next day and they went to go get a Philly cheesesteak sandwich? You guys remember that? Yeah, so there's like some really cool boxing. There's the Zone, there's Telemundo's having stuff on August 14th. I love the Telemundo cards because they're on the putazos. August 15th, Carl Frampton's fighting Michael Conlan. I'm waiting for Conlan to give me something, man. Like I like Conlan, but he needs to give me something to put him aside from the rest. Like he's cool and shit, but it's nothing that I've been like, wow, Michael Conlan blew my fucking head off. Wow, what a talented fellow, right? He's good. But in that division, especially, he needs to show me something. So I'm going to see that, Michael Conlan, August 15th. August 15th is also Benavides. Dang, we got packed stuff, guys. Alex Angulo, right? Orlando Rolly is fighting. I'm going to try to get Rolly's on here. This motherfucker's always fucking messaging me on Snapchat and Instagram. And he's fucking annoying sometimes. But I'm going to try to get him on here. Would you guys like to have Rolly's on here so that we can ask him why he makes out those sounds? Yeah. Also, we can ask him like how he feels about, he's been working with Mayweather when Mayweather shows up at the gym. Rollies has posted that he's fighting with him. Doing mitts and stuff with him. August 15th, Cecilia Parecus versus Jessica McCaskill. Madrimov, I love Madrimov. That motherfucker can fight. Remember Madrimov, you guys? He's really good. So that's also August 15th. And then August 22nd, that's a top rank card with Leito Alvarez and Joe Smith Jr. And as I said earlier, Joe Smith Jr. is the guy that knocked Bernard Hopkins out of the ring, and Leito Alvarez is the guy that knocked Kovalev the fuck out that one time. Oh, can you guys hear my moco? Sorry. August 22nd is Dillian White versus Alexander Povetkin. That shit sure to schmack. Povetkin's old, but White looked like shit in his last fight. And if we want to talk about nipples, let's talk about Dillian White's titties. Like, he got titties. Like, I was jealous. He got titties. So he didn't look great in his last fight. And Alexander Povetkin, he keeps losing, but he looks good. Like, who was his last fight? It wasn't Anthony Joshua, right? He fought somebody else, right? You instigated. But yeah, right? Like, Povetkin looks good, in my opinion, all the time, even when he loses. Katie Taylor, Delphine Pursoon. There was a guy here on the chat back when I used to be live every Wednesday that he would say that he said Katie Taylor won, and I was saying Delphine Pursoon won. So we should watch this together because I thought Delphine Pursoon won, and he kept saying Katie Taylor won. So me and him, if you're here in this chat or if you guys know who he is, hey, let's watch this one together because I feel like Pursoon beat Taylor that first time, and I think she might be there again. But, Katie Taylor's a really crafty girl. She probably, by now she's going to adjust. She's going to make necessary adjustments to win her. And then we also have Katie. Well, I just said that. Sergio Martinez is fighting August 22nd, which I talked with this on the Against the Ropes podcast. So you guys want to head to Against the Ropes after this is done. We talked about Sergio Martinez taking on Jose Miguel Fandino. I don't like that. Martinez needs to not do that. I still to this day do not watch the Cotto fight because it hurts my feelings. Like, I don't like to see him like that on the floor. Like, crippled looking. August 26th, Jeff Horn, guys. Jeff Horn's coming back. That's actually a really decent fight. Against Tim Tszyu. I can't pronounce it. I always like looking up these people's fights so that I know how to pronounce their names, but I'm just reading it right now, so I'm not. And then the 28th, Indio, Golden Boy, Linares, Javier Fortuna. That should be a good one. Ellis is fighting Salomon, who just fought Vergil, so that's a good fight to keep an eye on too. Ellis versus Salomon, and kind of use it a measuring stick to see how fast he gets rid of him, as opposed to Vergil. That's you guys want to see them fight. I want to see them fight. Alexis Rocha versus Jameson Bacon. I like when these guys have good fucking funny ass names. Lamont Roach is coming back. Marlene Esparza is coming back, and if you know, Marlene Esparza is one of those girls that give you very entertaining fights. I would definitely tune into that. August 19th, as we know, Ramirez versus Posto for the unified belts, and then Mike Tyson September. We're okay. We passed the last one in August so far. Is Jose Ramirez versus Victor Posto. So let's leave it at that. So we got a stacked ass month, y'all. Like, we went from, like, again, no offense against Top Rank, I definitely got used to watching fights right now, Tuesdays and Thursdays. The following Tuesday, when there was no boxing, I was just like, what do I do now with my life? Like, I was used to watching boxing, right? But they did feel like very long, never-ending undercards. Not that I'm mad at it, but I was kind of just waiting for, a big fight, and now we got them. Like, this month is going to schmack. And I hope none of those fights fall through because, let us pray because the coronavirus is fucking annoying. Taylor versus Pursoon. Yes, that's going to be fire. Would you like to see Ray Martinez against Ray Martinez? Wait, who's that? Can you remind me? Ray Martinez. Can you remind me? I haven't slept. Roy Jones, Tyson. Yeah, that's this month. He's okay. Rolly's going to get Belfort before Ryan. Well, he's getting one of the interims. I told him. He's like, oh, Rolly's. He messaged me. He's like, oh, Rolly's World Champ 2020. What pisses me off that fighters do this. He messaged me. He's like, I got a something, but I can't tell you. And I'm like, so why the fuck would you message me then? Don't tell me shit then. It annoys me when fighters. I hate when fighters do that to me. They'll message me like, "Oh, I got a fight date too. It's gonna be big, but I can't tell you." So then, don't tell me until it's fucking done. Because why are you even telling me? It gets on my fucking nerves. But he did that to me, and I'm like, okay. And then, like, he told me, he's like, "Oh, it's an interim," and I'm like, oh, okay, well, let me know. I'm not hating. Me and him have that. Like, we get along like that. Like, that's how I talk to him. Rematch, Senias Estrada. Yeah, but let's talk about Senias Estrada's last opponent. Like, that's dangerous. Like, I'm not taking anything away from her because she went in there and she did what she had to do. But the other lady, like, once you look into, because yeah, it looks okay when you're like, oh, 5-0, 5 KOs. Like, that means this lady must have some type of punching power, right? There was all against girls who had, like, barely were going to debut as well. And that's just, like, not. Like, and she only got 10K. She only got 10K for getting knocked the fuck out like that. Like, that's not, that hurt my feelings. But I'm not, it's nothing against Seniesa. Seniesa did what she had to do, which was punch. It was literally like 1 or 2 combinations, right? And the girl was out. Yeah. And that's long overdue because that was supposed to be when? In March? Right? That was supposed to be in March. Someone lied about her record. That shit sucks, dude. Like, it's dangerous. The commission, like, what are you doing, my dude? I knew it off the top. What are you talking about? Rolly's going against RGBA TMT versus RGBA. It's gonna be a good one though. He had told me, and he initially told me that he was gonna try to go for Rene Alvarado's, but then I don't know if that was somebody told me. I get them confused. People tell me shit, and I don't sleep, so I get it mixed up. But somebody else had told me that they were gonna go against Rene Alvarado's title, but I think Rolly's is one weight class higher. I don't know. Point is, I'm gonna ask him again, see what he says, and then you guys can have him on here. If any of you guys want to be on this with me, we can definitely have. I can just share a link, and you guys can hop on here as long as you don't say anything disrespectful and out of pocket. You know, you're more than welcome to log in next time. I'm thinking of doing it either every Tuesday or every Wednesday, so that we can do like this little live and get back to doing weekly lives. And also I'm gonna do more predictions and like analysis and stuff like that. And I don't want to do a lot of video interviews because I feel like fighters probably don't want to be asked. I feel like fighters already deal with so much media when they are fighting in regular fights that they're probably taking a break from media wanting to ask them shit. You know what I mean? Like they probably are kind of relieved that they just have to do televised stuff and stuff for their own promotional companies. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I'm gonna try Roll just because that's like someone that I have access to, and I could probably like just message him. And maybe Jesse might get the fight with Navarrete, which honestly, he's my friend, but I'm worried for him. Navarrete versus Justice Magdaleno. I think that I don't want that ending badly for Jesse as a friend. Or maybe once the fight does get announced, because that's what I think the bidding for that fight is August 11th, which was that Monday or Tuesday. And yeah, they're fighting for the vacant 126 belt that Shakur Stevenson left behind. And Navarrete is going to be Navarrete against Jesse. And I am concerned as a friend. What's your record? My record is undefeated, just like against Zoro said. But yes, let's think of a time where everybody's mostly free. I know right now it's quarantine, but some of you guys work. I'm not sure. We can do a weekly live, and then I am going to try to post at least one video a week, whether it's I'm thinking of doing like a recap / look into the week. And then as things happen, the only reason I don't do videos is because I don't do my makeup every day. And I'm like, to get on camera all looking fugly. Like I already get enough like shitty comments to be like doing fucking like more comments about my looks. It ain't it. But I'm thinking of doing that and then turning it into like an audio podcast. Well, doing it for YouTube and then turning it into an audio podcast and doing it for those who don't have access to be on YouTube and they could just listen to it like on their way to work and shit like that. So I'm going to try to do that as well. Okay. Again, like I know you're like, you're inconsistent, but now I got my whole little setup. I got my own apartment. It's quarantine. It's not like I can do anything else. The only reason I wasn't doing anything is because there was nothing going on. Like the Top Rank stuff to me didn't feel like people were even watching it for me to come up and be talking about it. You know what I mean? A lot of people weren't really watching it. I was, but some people weren't. Now, boxing is back. I'm back. I'm going to try to get you guys content. And yes, live on Sunday evenings. I could be live every fucking day, Arturo. But you guys definitely let me know. I could definitely do a Sunday evening type of thing to like recap on the weekend stuff and then do like a midweek one to like talk about the fights coming up that weekend. You know what I mean? You don't need... I wish y'all see me without makeup. You would see Jesse's story come from his last fight. I know those low blows, man. Like Vicente was his last name, right? He got Jesse good with those low blows, my dude. Like he got him good. I told him, I'm like, Leo doesn't tell him not to hit you in the balls. Leo wants a little brother, like, cause he has like a little boy. I don't know if you guys remember. But yeah, I'll post stuff. Follow me on my socials. Those are my socials. On Twitter is Chicanita, and on Instagram is at Billy Ho Saunders. Like I said, on Twitter, you guys can just follow me. It's public, and if you guys want to slide into my DMs and just give me suggestions on what days you would like, what type of content you would like, more than welcome to. The Billy Ho Saunders account, I put it private. And if you want to follow me from this stream, go ahead and send me a message. I'll go look at my request box, and then I could add you, because I'm not adding randoms right now. All day, every day. Unfortunately, I have to like do stuff, but like house stuff. But we can, work something out, and you guys can definitely hit me up on my socials, those too. Obviously, since you guys are obviously subscribed, but if you're not, subscribe, tell your homies, like, hey, there's this girl who talks boxing and she's pretty cool sometimes, so you guys should subscribe. And tell your grandma, tell your grandpa, tell your tios, tell your baby mama, tell your baby daddy, tell your ruca, tell your sanchas, tell your sanchos. Send this shit to your grandma. Do you guys like my poster, by the way? I don't know if you guys can see it. It's a Triple G Canelo. And then I have a glove signed by Vergil, because he gave me two and I raffled one, if you guys don't remember. And then I have the here. And then I have the Eric Morales, Shane Mosley. And who else signed that one? I forgot. Dang, I already forgot. But I'm gonna definitely try to social distance, but also try to go back to the gym, if they let me, and then get you guys some signed gloves or something. That way I can like do a little giveaway or something. But yeah, follow me on shit and say hi to me, other than on YouTube. Tell your friends. Stay tuned. See what else we do. I've been here for almost 2 hours, so I think we should cut it now. Have a good week, and maybe like Arturo said, we'll go back on Sunday night and talk about the fights. Nice setup. Thank you. I need a Sancha. Me too. Let's look for one. Well, right now we can't even go look for Sanchas or Sanchos because we're all inside. Thank you, Ulises, or Ulysses. I don't know how people pronounce, but thank you so much today for all your super chats, you guys. They mean a lot to me, especially because I know all of our pockets are hurting right now. We all got our pockets hurting, so I do appreciate every little thing that you guys give me. It means so much because, like I said, it all goes back to making content. And like I said, we're definitely going to be making more and more and more and more content now that I have all this set up. And like I said,
To this day.
to this day.
To this day. To this day.
And with that one, I am out. To this day, Xicana Boxing out. Go ahead and follow me on all my socials. Just 2. I'll see you guys next time. Maybe we'll come back on Sunday. Follow me on my socials to find out at what time on Sunday if I do go on. All right, guys. You guys have a lovely week. Again, be kind, okay? I know there's a bunch of bullshit going on right now. Be kind to yourself. Have good mental health. And worry about yourself as well. Take a break, you guys. Have a good one. Good night, you guys. It was really nice chatting up with you guys. And I'm glad you guys didn't forget me.